The way guys unintentionally increase the sexual market value of the woman they're with is when they pay for some sort of augmentation or some sort of these Botox and all of these things. Okay, so you're high status male. Okay, here you marry. You say you get married late. Some of you guys getting married at age 32, 33. So, by virtue, the first husband raised her sexual market value by paying off her debt, making her less risky. And you suspect that your parents and other members of your family have been criticizing you because you frequently bring 22-year-old ladies to family gatherings, and they frequently ask you what you have to talk about with her. What do you have in common? The first thing is that I'm not talking about anything, and I'm hoping that we won't talk about much other than our bodies talking. This is why I'm with her, and why I'm excited to be with her. This is also why I don't believe in the erectile dysfunction stuff that everyone else believes in. All these guys have been married for 30 years and are trying to get excited over a 50-year-old man. Throw an 18-year-old and get ecstatic, he's going to rage. But returning to what I was saying, let's imagine that he is in his mid-30s and that his sexual marketability is rising. He marries a person who is near to his age, since others are criticizing him for dating younger women. Oh, you should date someone your own age, so he does it and weds a second 34-year-old woman. She then says, "Hey, I've got to get pregnant right away," as she prepares to throw a buzzer-beating three-pointer by Steph Curry from 60 feet half court before dropping some kids off at the public school indoctrination camps. Returning to work now, her body will have been somewhat damaged, making it more difficult to simply whip that body back into shape. She is no longer young, so the boobs will be sagging if she breastfed or breast pumped. The stomach will be out of shape, the crow's feet and wrinkles will be beginning to appear, and she will be a little more weathered than when you first carried her down the hall. They usually say, "Hey, my wife's not feeling well. She has postpartum depression. She's depressed. Her body's all out of whack. I'm going to surprise her. I'm going to go pay for some breast implants, and I'm going to get her a stomach tuck." This is common in affluent circles. And then I'm going to get, maybe a facelift for some work done, some lip injections, some Botox, and all of these other insane things that women can do to change their age and appear less weathered that are caused by having children. Okay. So what happens is that they are approaching their 40s, and he wants to improve her body to make her feel better about herself. He buys her breast implants, pays for her tummy tuck. Okay. He gives her Botox treatments. He gives her, she gets to get her hair done, and her hair dyed every single month. However, by doing this, he unintentionally increased her sexual market value. So now when she goes back to girls' nights out, she is going on wine trips. And all that stuff Botox, now she was about to hit the wall at 600 miles an hour in reverse. But he Hail married her and raised her sexual marketplace value, and inadvertently now, this is common men play for their brush implants for their wives. And then they get divorced because the wife is out there, and now Chaz. She looks good. She's a cougar. She's drunk tonight. She's grinding all over my Bologna pony on the dance floor. And Tyrone's, who will hit anything, are saying, "Hey, look at this woman. She looks good. She's a cougar. She's ready to leave now that she's not happy with her relationship. Because this new Chad, now a guy with higher sexual marketplace value in terms of looks and alphaness there. He sure is pitching game to her. And now that she says, 'I'm ready to divorce you. I'm not happy,' she receives alimony, child support, a better body, is a little bit more preserved, and is now attracting Chads and Tyrones at the club. He unintentionally increased her market value in the sexual department, and if he had paid off her debt and made her debt-free, he would have given her a little bit of status. This is how men unintentionally raise the sum of their women, and I urge you guys to not pay off their debt. Make that debt hurt. She's 100 responsible for it when you get if you marry somebody. And also some extra cash and a better body. Here you go now. She gets out there, she gets back out there. She's a better catch than she would have been if he had not paid for those breast implants and gave her some body work. People don't understand that which is why I write this content. Men don't understand what's at stake when they enter these marriages because everyone says, oh, it's about love and the best possible day. But the reality is that nearly 70% of first marriages are ending. And if neither of you has tried to make payments on that debt, then everyone walks away with their own student loan debt when you guys get divorced. But ultimately, by virtue of getting married, they try to team up together to attack the debt. And then when the debt is paid off now, she's in a better position once she leaves, and she has a little bit of extra money in her pocket. And he's a little bit lighter now. That guy inadvertently decreased his sexual marketplace value once he got divorced. Grape now. He don't have no money now. His status is less now. He doesn't have the house that he normally had now. He's gotta, turn in his lease. However, this is the dynamics of a relationship once more. You may make it sound complicated by telling me that it's about love and other intangibles that are impossible to quantify or reach out and touch. But nobody talks that mess when they go to family court. Nobody talks that mess when they're in child support hearing. Nobody talks that mess when you get divorced, raped. Nobody says, oh, what about the love? The love's not there anymore. It's not simply not there. In reality, human beings aren't really made to cohabitate long-term. Many of these cohabitations and these long marriages are forced. You're doing it by force. Okay. You're forcing your way into it. Be it that family tradition or social norms in your area, be it that you have situations where it's an arranged marriage by force, being that you are legally bound or financially restricted, or that you don't want a black eye or scarlet letter in your community. You're in church, religious situations, you're forced to be in these relationships. Long term, many people just simply want to leave, and if you didn't, you weren't threatened financially or religiously or in your community or with your family, you would have bounced a long time ago. You would have bounced when your erection started getting soft, and you had to, do all these things to, spark your relationship. You would have been bounced. You must now write it down and pray that no one will cheat and blow it up, making the other person seem bad, or you can go to the courthouse and petition for divorce if you can't avoid forced cohabitation or forced formal marriage. The worst moment for this to happen to guys is when you're supposed to be at your peak sexual market worth as a man, which is when you're in your 50s. You have no chance now, brother. Forget about it, man. They call that a gray divorce, and the moment you get one, you have the least likely ever to recover financially. Now she's running around with your money, not getting married because she got lifetime alimony depending on what state she lived in. I hate to paint a bleak picture, but you're still in a forced marriage. But according to the statistics, this is what I'm describing 3 out of 4 times in all relationships, so 75% of the time. Don't give me that 50 marriage for garbage that excludes second marriages and people who were married before feminism took hold in this country. Okay. You take out those who were married before feminism took hold in this country and the people who were married 2 and 3 times, right? They say, not my wife, not my husband, coach. Well, you haven't been married long enough, don't talk about that. And you can probably pull up family members that have done exactly what I've been talking about. But you want to come on my channel talking about these crazy things because they haven't been the one yet. They just got married or they just got into a relationship and they can never see their partner doing these crazy things that I'm describing. But according to the statistics, this is what I'm describing 3 out of 4 times in all relationships, so 75% of the time. Don't give me that 50 marriage for garbage that excludes second marriages and people who were married before feminism took hold in this country. Okay. You take out those who were married before feminism took hold in this country and the people who were married 2 and 3 times, right? They say, not my wife, not my husband, coach. Well, you haven't been married long enough, don't talk about that. And you can probably pull up family members that have done exactly what I've been talking about. But you want to come on my channel talking about these crazy things because they haven't been the one yet. They just got married or they just got into a relationship and they can never see their partner doing these crazy things that I'm describing. Except for me having sleeping 3 times a day, now that the kids are grown or out of the house doesn't mean anything. And just because you're still married after 20 years doesn't mean you beat anything. Don't mean you have a happy marriage. don't mean you know you got the golden vagina. Don't mean anything. You might be the exception to the rule, or you might be in a forced steel marriage where you just have to get along. Divorce is not a possibility.